Susie Sausage Head.
So, let me tell y'all about the time Susie Sausage Head was arguing with her guy friend. She'd heard that he was cheating and came to his place to see about it. Of course, Susie found out that it was true, so she snapped. Susie began to berate her guy friend with questions that she already knew the answers to, like, who is she? And is it that girl downstairs? Things between the two of them became so heated that Susie's guy friend decided to put her out. Her guy friend picked her up and led her to the front door of his unit, all while Susie was kicking, screaming, and swinging the whole way. Susie Sausage Head was dating a guy that stayed on the 9th floor of a high-rise building. There were several buildings in this complex, some high-rise and some were of a row house slash townhouse build. Susie stayed in one of these row slash townhouses. As she was being unceremoniously carried to the front door and then to the elevator bay, she continued to use colorful language and throw haymakers the whole way. When the elevator arrived, it was empty, and Susie's now ex-guy friend tossed her toward the back wall of the elevator, quickly pushing a button for the first floor, then darted back toward his unit. Before Susie could recover from her crumpled position on the floor and run after him, the doors were closing to the elevator and she found herself heading toward the first floor. Before she could get there though, the elevator stopped on the 7th floor, and when the doors opened, Susie was glad that she was in a mood to mop and wop. Susie Sausage Head looked at the open elevator doors and saw the older sister of the girl that her guy friend had cheated on her with. By this time, everyone knew what beef was, so when they made eye contact, the ladies clashed. The older sister was not alone. She had her guy friend with her as well, and bless his heart, he tried to get between them, but as the elevator descended toward the first floor, the ladies fought on. In such a tight space, they made more contact with one another than they normally would outside in the streets. There was hair pulling, windmilling, clothes were ripped, shoes were lost, jewelry was snatched, and skin was scratched. Flying feet made contact consistently because they were more or less about the same size and weight class. No one was really winning. Susie Sausage Head hurled insults claiming that the younger sister was a loose lady of the evening. In turn, she received the typical and very predictable, "If he was happy with you," retort. At some point, the older sister's guy friend gave up on trying to stop the melee and just stood to one corner watching both the ladies and the digital readout of the floors they were passing. What seemed like an eternity for him finally ended when the elevator doors opened. When they did, he took a hold of the older sister by the waist, picked her up, and exited the elevator. Susie was hot on their trail, and as she followed, the ladies continued to reignite the conflict out in the open. Now, outside of the confines of the elevator car and out in the open, they could really get busy. Also, by this time, one of Susie's homegirls had shown up, and she was wearing Vaseline on her face. The end.